How can South Africans resist the urge to spend more than they can afford this season? Why does South Africa have one of the worst savings rates in the world? How has the recent weakening of the rand impacted consumers? And why is the National Credit Regulator increasing raids on bomashonisa? What time is it? It is question time. Welcome to Question Time. My name is Mpho. South Africa has one of the worst savings rates in the world. This is according to statistics released by the Reserve Bank in July. For its part, Stats SA says South Africans are now borrowing more money than they are saving. Meanwhile, economists say the recent weakening of the rand, tighter monetary and fiscal policy, as well as persistent drought, will make 2016 tougher than 2015. But is this likely to change consumers' borrowing and spending patterns during this festive period? A reminder that this is a live program, and therefore you can call us and air your views. The numbers to dial 089 110 4210. 089 110 4210. Our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24. My guest today, Mpho Ramapala, who is the Education and Communications Manager for the National Credit Regulator. And from our Durban Studios, as usual, we welcome Prem Govender, who is from the South African Saving Institute. Welcome to the show. Prem, welcome to the show as well.
Thank you.
How has the shopping been, Prem?
Well, I have to admit that I'm pleasantly surprised. The malls are not as busy as I thought they might be.
Is that a good thing?
Does it mean that South Africans... Well, it means that South Africans have either they've learned to curb their spending or they just don't have the money anymore.
Well, they've never had money in the first place.
Yes, but we had the borrowing capacity.
So are you saying that we are even in the red in our borrowing capacity? We don't have money, we can't even borrow?
I think so.
That's bad though, or is it a good thing?
In a way, it's a good thing. It means that people are not getting further indebted, and you know there's only one way to go, and that's to go up and curb the spending, pay off debt, and hopefully it's a lesson well learned.
But Prem, how can South Africans resist the urge to spend more than they have this festive season?
They're just going to have to be disciplined. They need to learn that there is life after Christmas. The January expenses don't automatically disappear because you don't have money.
Now, perhaps, Mpho, let me come to you here. Why do South Africans, or why is South Africa rated as the worst saving country?
I think, if you look at our statistics, you will see that we've got a lot of credit active consumers. We've got 23.5 million credit active consumers. That's the information that is on our credit bureau. And out of those credit active consumers, almost 43%, it's behind in payments. You can't save something that you don't have. If you've got too much debt, then it means that you don't have money to save. If you look at our statistics, you'll see that a lot of our consumers are struggling to repay the debt that they have currently. Hence, the savings, it's not that much because they really don't have money to save. During the festive season, we try and urge consumers because there are those ones that are lucky that get bonuses and 13th check, to say to them, if you've got debt, it's better to take that money and try and repay your debt rather than going and spending it on something that you don't really need. We know
If I'm putting it aside, who's going to paint the wall?
you need to prioritize. I mean, the wall won't put food in the table in January. If you paint the wall now in December, the wall will be nice for people to see. But your account in January will be in the red. So hence we're saying people must prioritize and try and make sure that what comes first is what is necessary.
Prem, everybody is buying. Why should I be the only one who's not buying? What do I say to my kids when they want bikes and I cannot buy them bikes, but every other child on my street is driving a new bike?
Well, you see, therein lies our problem. Our children need to be taught that we shouldn't be keeping up with the Joneses. If we can afford it, we will buy it. If we cannot, then we need to save before we actually buy. The trouble with South African consumers is that we want instant gratification. We don't want to be saving for something. We either want to buy it on credit that we can't afford, simply because we want to keep up with the Joneses.
I ask myself this question, Prem. Which world are you living in where people don't compare themselves with Varaudzi next door?
We just need to learn that we shouldn't be doing that. Back in the day, people didn't do that. People saved and they bought what they needed. They didn't just go out on a limb borrowing money that they could barely afford to repay just so that they could get what others have.
Mpho, now what are you doing with those people who are tempting us, sending us SMSs? You have qualified for a pre-approval loan of 200,000 rand. All you need to do is to reply yes.
I mean, a lot of people get that, especially now that it's December. There's sale signs everywhere. There's buy now, pay later deals for those that are looking for cars. There's residual values or balloon payments. So what we say to our consumers, because I mean, credit providers have the right to advertise.
Yeah.
It's you as a consumer, you need to be tempted if you know that you can afford it. If you can't, then don't even try and buy it, because then you'll end up with a problem with the repayments.
But do they have the right to be sending me these SMSs? Who gave them my numbers for status?
Most of the time when you apply for credit, they will ask you if you want them to market or send you marketing messages. You have the right to opt out of those marketing messages. It is in terms of the National Credit Regulator. But if you National Credit Act, sorry, if you didn't opt out and you said they can send you those messages, they will send you those messages, and they are allowed to do that. It's one of their marketing strategies. But for consumers, I mean, for example, a sale doesn't mean that you have to buy. If they say 50% off and you didn't even have that 50% that you're supposed to pay, you don't have to buy. The problem with South Africans is a sale means you need to spend. If you don't have money, don't spend because it's sale.
You guys, I really wonder, Mpho, where are you living? I mean, I meet people who are saying, okay, I don't have. They say, no, very quickly, we can give you an account. You know, they process it same time. They don't need a lot of things. So you're not protecting us.
We are. I mean, in terms of the National Credit Act, before they give you credit, they need to do an affordability assessment.
Which they rely on me to tell them how I'm indebted.
Yes.
And
partly,
I go on and lie.
Partly though, because they also have access to credit bureau information where they can pull out all the information relating to your credit agreements. So if you're lying and they have a credit report, I mean, you can lie for something that maybe you've borrowed money from a friend, that they wouldn't know. But everything that you've done with a registered credit provider, that gives information to credit bureau, they'll be able to pull out those reports. Even some of the micro lenders, they do list the information. So that's why I'm saying partly, you can lie partly, but they've got control over what information they use to make sure that you can afford to pay the loan that you require.
I want us to talk about, for instance, consequences for those who contravene the act. But also, Prem, we would have to talk about Bumashonisa. You know, they don't seem to be so well regulated as well, but only after the break. This is question time, and therefore we'll be taking your calls. The number to dial 089-110-4210.
Hello, it's a favorite minister here. Yane, party is a very nice language because it was written by you, the people. Here's a good one. Pry hard, an individual who pries against all odds. Hoi! Give me water!
Tryhards, keep cool with the case of Costa Light for $179.99 and help make party South Africa's 12th official language. Tops at Spa. Shake things up.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is Mpho Ramapala, who is the Education and Communications Manager for the National Credit Regulator. And from our Durban Studios, Prem Govender, who is from the South African Saving Institute. Prem, or perhaps before we even talk about the loan sharks, some of the key tips to curb overspending in festive season?
I think the key to this is to know how much you have, draw up a budget, spend only what you need to, and if you've got debt that you need to service that first, particularly debt that commands a higher interest rate. So you would need to start with that. And I think basically the problem with South Africans is that they haven't heard of the word budget. How can you know what you are, how can you know where your money is going if you don't know how you should be spending it? What are your priorities? South Africans don't distinguish between needs and wants. Everything becomes a want. That is the basic problem.
But let us be honest. I mean, people's needs are always higher than what they earn.
Not necessarily. If you budget carefully, it doesn't have to be like that.
Okay. All right. Sipho, you're calling us from Delmos. Welcome to Question Time.
Good evening.
Yes, welcome.
Yes, my brother, I'm a concerned citizen.
Okay.
I'm listening to the lady on the stage that you are sitting with you at this present moment.
Yes.
I want to make a certain example. They said that they regulate the credits from, and if I go to any store and apply, and then they must check my credit record.
Yes.
If I can tell you by my side, as a person now, all the credits that I have, I'm doubled my salary and my living standard, but of which I can manage to pay them due to of some other instances. I just like to differ with the lady there that says that they do control. They really mislead people and let people get in debt, and then at the end of the day, they come with an umbrella saying that, no, we are making a point that people are not getting indebted. Yeah, that's my concern. That is really misleading. It's really misleading.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sipho. You see what I was saying, that people, I mean, you go there and say whatever. And for these corporates, to them, I think they need to maximize the numbers. You know, the more people are indebted to them, that's good business.
But I mean, in terms of the National Credit Act, they've got things that they need to do because before they give somebody a loan or money or credit. Firstly, they need to get proof of income to make sure that what you're saying you're earning, it's what you are earning.
And people forge those?
But they also need proof of a bank statement.
People forge those as well?
To check if the money that you're saying you're earning is the money that is going into the account. There are people who've got businesses that also disclose their extra income. I just want to urge the caller to say that consumers have control over what happens to them in terms of credit. You can't blame the credit providers entirely. The onus is on you when you apply for credit to be honest, so that when they do the credit checks, they've got the right information. Okay. Even from their side, if they didn't do what they're supposed to do in terms of the act, there are consequences. Okay. If somebody complains at the NCR to say the credit provider gave them the loan that they didn't afford, and we investigate, we find out that they didn't do what they were supposed to do, especially in terms of affordability assessments, we can refer them to the tribunal where there will be a ruling, and most of those cases, the consumers don't have to pay the debt.
All right. But Mandla, useqonce.
Yes. Thanks a lot for.
Yes.
Hey, I have a problem here. It may not be directly related to this spending we are talking about, but it has got something to do with disorganizing the budget, because I had to reverse some debit orders in the bank, debit orders I don't know anything about. Companies like Legal, Eagle and Healthcare, and then I had to reverse, and that reversing of debit orders involves some charges, so it still disorganizes our budget. What are they doing to help us, please? Because it seems now it's very easy for these companies to take our money from the bank without our...
Oh, thank you very much, Mandla. Prem, you seem to agree with the caller there. Perhaps let me just allow you to add.
Well, yes, I do agree that that has been happening on a regular basis. And this is where I come in when I say, if you don't budget and if you don't watch every cent that you are spending, how are you going to know if people are doing this to your account, if there are unauthorized debits going off your account? And I know it's a nightmare to have these things reversed, but if you know it immediately, you go to your bank can be very helpful.
Okay.
I've had an experience like that, and I know that the banks, if you have a good record with your bank, it's not a problem to have those reversed. But then you will need to act immediately, not a few months later, because you don't know what's going on in your bank account.
Okay. Let's have a look at some of our tweets here to see what our viewers are saying about some of the questions that we were asking. Mdau Masimbane, or Ropiwa Mdau, says poverty of mind is turning people to be crazy and think spending too much make them special within their communities. Okay, Mdau. Kaifas Kaba says materialism is driving force. We lack personal financial management, and all these financial institutions target the poor. All right. And Sani Mbongeni says blacks are misinformed and the system did much damage to their social lives. Okay. Hosana Murbani says blacks are spending what we don't have. Oh, blacks, by spending what we don't have. Once we given credit card, we go bananas. Mpho, okay, who is careless? According to your stats there, is it black people or white people, people of colored origin, Indian origin?
Our statistics doesn't have race.
No. Tell us the truth.
Honestly,
we that can't be.
Yeah, we don't categorize by race. So what I can say is, if we look at our statistics, you will see that, as I said, almost it's 42.5% consumers are battling with their repayments.
Yes.
So that shows that generally South Africans, I mean, it's almost half, are battling with their debts.
Okay.
From our side as the NCR, we try and educate consumers on their rights and responsibilities.
Okay.
Because, I mean, their rights, it's when they go to a credit provider, they want to take credit, they need to get a quotation first so that they can see all the charges, all the fees, and how long it's going to take them to pay, how much it's going to be, the total cost of credit, before they enter into a credit agreement.
Okay. Prem?
I just want to say that I don't agree that it's a generalization of black people that don't know how to save. How do we then how do we explain that any given time there's in excess of 40 billion rand in stokvels? And we know that the majority of black people save in stokvels. So it's not like people don't know how to save. It's just certain elements of our society that goes overboard. I don't think we should be generalizing.
But what are these stokvels saving for? To buy jam and fish oil in December?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. We have stats that reveal that 80% of the people who improved on their RDP homes saved the money for those improvements in stokvels. So, you know, that home is an asset, and they've been increasing the value of their asset simply by saving through stokvels. I understand that perhaps the bulk of it would be for groceries, but equally people are saving for education in stokvels.
Which is something good. Let's look at what our poll results look like. Can South Africans resist the urge to spend more than what they can afford? Quick one, out of 8 people, 13% are saying yes, 87% are saying no. They cannot resist the urge, so we do not know. But perhaps as we wrap up, Mpho, it's festive season. We see a lot of trailers, not trolleys, trailers on the N1 and N4 to Zimbabwe and Limpopo. Lots of groceries packed there. Is this something which people can do? Because, I mean, I know of people who would say, you know, during the year, they pack up something called Malaysia. They take stuff to Malaysia, go to Beitbridge, Maguma, then takes over across the border. Is this something that we should be doing throughout the year?
You know what, I think it's, for me, I'm also from Limpopo, buying grocery here and going home with it, it's just not an ideal situation, because I can also buy the same thing, same store, Pick and Pay, there is Limpopo, then I can buy. Rather than, if some people don't even have the car, they buy those things here, they have to pay for transport.
Malaysia.
To get it to Limpopo.
Yes.
I mean, I know somebody who bought a fridge from here, and she wanted transport to take it to Limpopo. And the same fridge is, I mean, the store is still in Limpopo, and she can get the fridge in Limpopo. So I think it's poor planning, in my opinion. Because if you can buy the same product where you are from, it's better to do that than incurring more costs.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much for the time. Prem,
whilst I agree that it is poor planning, I also think that we need to touch on the fact that South Africans are not properly informed. I mean, aside from the fact that we've got illiteracy, we've got financial illiteracy. We need to educate our consumers.
Thank you very much, Prem. That was question time for today. A big thank you to my guest and to you for watching the show. Go out there, enjoy, but save. Goodbye.